from Cincinnati. The Queen City has its day in the national spotlight tonight as the Cincinnati Reds and the Philadelphia Phillies play Game 3 of this best-of-5 series from Great American Ballpark. Here is the starting lineup. Shane Victorino leads off for the Phillies again tonight. His second consecutive start in the leadoff spot. Placido Polanco bats second with Chase Utley in the 3-hole. Middle of the order for Charlie Manuel is Ryan Howard at first base. Jayson Werth in right field with Jimmy Rollins at the shortstop position. The bottom three, Raul Ibanez in left, Carlos Ruiz catching, and Cole Hamels is on the mound. Brian Anderson with Joe Simpson and David Aldridge, and Joe on the mound for the Cincinnati Reds, 24-year-old Johnny Cueto.
5'10", 210 out of Dominican Republic. He was 12-7 this year, but he really pitched well at home. He loves pitching in this ballpark. He went 6-3 here. He throws hard. He can throw in the mid-90s, sometimes 97, 98. Has a hard slider. That's his out pitch, and will mix in a changeup on occasion. He hasn't pitched in 11 days. That'll be something to keep an eye on to see if this crowd gets him too revved up as he makes his first start in the postseason.
Well, a big burden to bear. The Reds are staring in the face of elimination. It's win or go home for Cincinnati as Cueto starts Victorino with ball one, and away we go tonight on a picture-perfect night for baseball in Cincinnati, Ohio. Shane Victorino back in the leadoff spot again for Charlie Manuel. Jimmy Rollins still slowed a bit by a hamstring problem. He hits down in the lineup, and Victorino a capable leadoff hitter. Victorino 2 for 8 in this postseason so far with a couple of runs scored. Has 3 runs batted in as well. In the air to right, a hitter-friendly ballpark here in Cincinnati. Plenty of room for Bruce. And one away in the first inning.
And behind Cueto tonight defensively, a team that's got to play better defense. A clean game. They can't afford to do what they did in Game 2. Gomes in left tonight. Stubbs and Bruce in center and right. Roland, Cabrera, Phillips, and Votto from third to first. And behind the plate will be Ramon Hernandez doing the catching. Cabrera, a late addition to the lineup at short.
Well, a big part of the Cincinnati story and a late game meltdown on Friday night in Game 2. The Reds committing 4 errors, the best defensive team in the National League this year. As the Phillies scored 7 unanswered on Friday night to win 7-4 and go up 2-0. That one is ripped back up the middle, a base hit. Placido Polanco singles with 1 away in the first.
He's the only guy in the lineup that's never faced Cueto before, and singles in his first at bat against him. But 4 errors, 6 walks, 3 hit batsmen. 5 of the 7 runs scored by the Phillies in Game 2 were unearned. The Reds certainly don't want to duplicate that performance.
A reminder that MLB Postseason in Espanol, live MLB Postseason Spanish language feed available via the SAP button. So a 1-out hit for the Phillies, and here is Chase Utley. Utley 2 for 7 in the postseason so far. A couple of runs. He drove in 3 runs as a sacrifice fly in the first 2 games, and a quick visit to the mound for Ramon Hernandez, and something you might expect here early with a very young pitcher in Johnny Cueto at 24 years of age on the mound.
It's going to happen a lot tonight. As long as Cueto's out there, Hernandez might at times have to go out and calm him down a little bit, and whatever Hernandez calls, that's what Cueto throws. Ramon is in control of this.
And a strike to Utley. Well, the Phillies have done some running. One of the better steal percentage teams in the National League. They are 3 for 3 in this series, and you figure they will test the young pitcher early. Utley into center field. That one's well hit. Back is Drew Stubbs at the track. He's got it for the out. It got him quiet quickly here at Great American Ballpark, but it stays in the yard. 2 long fly ball outs in this inning for Cueto.
Everything hit in the air here is an adventure because it is a small ballpark. The only place where it's legit is straightaway center field at 404, but a real bandbox. Only 379 to the left center field gap, 370 to the right center field gap, and fly balls are home runs here on a normal night.
First postseason game in Cincinnati in 15 years. Got to go back to the 1995 season. Last time the Reds were in the playoffs. That was the first year in the wild card era of divisional play. They've been waiting a long time here in Cincinnati for a moment like this. Cincinnati is the birthplace of professional baseball, and Joe, if there was ever a team that could use the open arms of their home fans, it is the Reds after what happened 2 nights ago in Philadelphia.
No question. It was an ugly game, a game it looked like they had in hand. Bronson Arroyo pitching great. Had a 4-run lead in the middle innings, but the defense just collapsed. And of course, the ill-fated fly ball and the lights that Jay Bruce lost that led to the tying and go-ahead runs.
Ryan Howard takes one down and away.
But as Dusty Baker said, that's behind us. We got to concentrate on the job at hand tonight. That was one of the reasons Orlando Cabrera wanted to play tonight, even though he had to come out of game 2 with a rib injury. But he worked out, ran through, hit, and deemed himself ready to go.
Yeah, that is a big part of the story here tonight. Orlando Cabrera defensively against Howard. The Reds with 3 infielders on the right side as Cabrera from the shortstop position ends up on the right side of second base. We'll have more on the Cabrera situation with David Aldridge in a moment.
Ryan Howard, meanwhile, loves hitting in this ballpark. 8 homers and 70 career at bats.
And a strike from Cueto. Home plate umpire tonight is Sam Holbrook. He gets the call behind the plate for this game 3. The 6-man umpiring crew: Ed Rapuano, Gary Cederstrom, Rob Drake around the infield, and John Hirschbeck and Bruce Dreckman are in the outfield. There's a swing and a miss. Full count to Ryan Howard.
Cueto does have some run on his fastball. He can make his two-seamer run away from a left-handed hitter. It's not just hard and straight. It has some movement.
Polanco at first, 2 away in the first inning. Johnny Cueto deals a 3-2 and a little flare in the left. Gomes playing so deep. That is going to fall for a base hit as Polanco is into third base. Johnny Gomes practically standing on the warning track for that 3-2 pitch, and Howard is aboard with a base hit.
My goodness, he was deep. Tried to run the ball in on Ryan Howard, and they did a pretty good job of this. He had to take a little bit of an inside-out swing. He fought it off, but he's so strong, able to dump it in front of Gomes and put him at first and third with 2 out.
Now, in that configuration, the only ball that goes over Johnny Gomes' head is over the fence. The Reds started Lance Nix in game 2, a better defender. Gomes brings a bigger bat to the plate and a right-handed bat. And now 2 on for the Phillies with Jayson Werth at the plate. Strike 1.
For the Phillies, they are 5-0 in their last 5 games in which they could clinch a playoff game and clinch a spot where they move on or win the World Series. And Jayson Werth has been the best hitter for them in the 6 games that he has played in where they could clinch.
There's so much talk about Jayson Werth during the regular year. Hit 186 with runners in scoring position, but he had an RBI single in the 8th inning on Friday night. Also had a big steal in that game, part of the comeback for the Phillies. He's up with 2 on and 2 out, and Cueto busts him inside for a ball. Werth with a couple of hits already in this postseason in 2 games. He's 2 for 8. He's scored a couple of runs and has that RBI. Polanco with a single, Ryan Howard with a single. 2 on, runners at the corners for the Phillies. And a big cut and a miss. Werth taking a shot at Kentucky right there with that hack.
That looked like one that ran in on him, though. Started on the inside third, but then started running in on his hands, and no way he could connect to it. Couldn't get the barrel of the bat to it in time. Likes the ball away from him.
Which is why Cueto works him inside. Well, some stressful pitches early for Johnny Cueto as the Phillies threaten quickly in this first inning.
Let's see if he gives in here and throws a fastball or goes to the slider. It's a hard slider. Not a chase ball 4. Reds wanted to get out to a good start, hopefully score first, and let this crowd help them add on to their lead, but they don't want to fall behind early to Philadelphia.
And Werth bounces one out to the shortstop Cabrera, and the throw is high. A run will score. And another error for the Cincinnati Reds. We told you Orlando Cabrera was originally out of this lineup, injured his side on Friday. But he talked his way into the starting lineup, and the normally sure-handed shortstop throws one away.
He kind of aimed that one, Brian, and in doing so, watch behind Joey Votto. Davey Lopes hit the deck. He thought that one was going to get him. Nice save by Votto. But another error and another unearned run.
Well, it's hard to believe. 5 unearned runs on Friday night for the Phillies. 5 of their 7 were unearned. And a team that was so good defensively this season during the regular year, having so much trouble in the postseason, allowing the Phillies extra outs. And Jimmy Rollins on the first pitch. Inning is over. But a costly error, and the Phillies strike first. Now the Reds will bat for the first time against Cole Hamels. error by the Cincinnati Reds to get this game started. Now the Reds come to bat, and here's the lineup for Dusty Baker. Drew Stubbs to be followed by Brandon Phillips, then Joey Votto at first base. The middle of the order for Baker is Scott Rolen at third, Johnny Gomes, the left fielder, with Ramon Hernandez catching. And then it's Jay Bruce in right field, Orlando Cabrera, who was a late addition to the starting lineup, followed by Johnny Cueto.
And Cole Hamels, 26 years old, is on the mound. He had a great second half. Only went 12 and 11 on the year, but those numbers are very deceiving.
First pitch to Drew Stubbs, who takes over in the leadoff spot tonight. As you check the numbers for Cole Hamels during the regular season.
In the second half, after the All-Star break, a 2.23 ERA. He gave up 19 homers, but only 7 after the break.
Bouncing ball, going to be a tough play. Stubbs can run, and he's safe at first. Drew Stubbs, one of the fastest players in the big leagues, as Jimmy Rollins, the Gold Glover, cannot get the ball there in time despite a good, strong throw.
Drew Stubbs is 6'4", 205 pounds, and can really go. Flat-footed. Jimmy couldn't get much on this throw. Good stretch by Howard, and man, there's no doubt about what the call is from Ed Rapuano. He let you know in a big way. Long strides for Stubbs. And he got the call.
Yeah, close play at first. Stubbs beats it out. And the Reds with a base runner, and a fast one at that. A base stealer on for Brandon Phillips. And a check on Rapuano at first. He says he checked it. Phillips in the 2-hole tonight. Brandon Phillips had been leading off. He does not have much success against Cole Hamels in his career. So with Stubbs in the leadoff spot, this is the ideal scenario for Dusty Baker, with Phillips hitting second. And he rips one into center field. Victorino runs it down. What a play by Shane Victorino as Stubbs retreats. Boy, if that gets by him, that's at least one run. Phillips probably ends up at third base.
It's got to be the play of the series, because that's at least second and third. Probably a run in, and Phillips at third base. What a good play by Victorino. Got a great jump on the ball and tracked it down. Hard to get one over him.
Yeah, knows he had an extra base hit taken away. Great catch from Victorino. Got a great jump and runs it down for the first out. Now it's Joey Votto. One of two lefties in the starting lineup tonight against Cole Hamels. Votto and Jay Bruce, the left-handed batters. An MVP type season this year. 37 homers, 113 RBIs. A career year across the board for Joey Votto, who they call Votomatic here in Cincinnati.
One of the things that's helped in the second half for Cole Hamels is an increase in velocity on his fastball. He's up now from 90-91 to 94, sometimes 95. He's bigger, he's stronger, he's put on a little weight. 6'3" up to 190. And really tough down the stretch. His last 8 starts, he went 5-1 with a 1.63 ERA.
Votto's been known to swing away 3-0, and he hacks and fouls it away. Not the kind of swing he was looking for on a 3-0 green light.
I'd like to have that one back. It's still a good hitter's count.
Cut it a miss, and it goes full. Stubbs still standing at first base. Usually when you get the big home run hitters up there like Votto or Johnny Gomes or Jay Bruce, Dusty Baker will shut the running game down to some degree. But he goes now with 2 strikes, and Votto fouls it away. This Reds ball club led the National League in home runs this year, at a home run friendly ballpark. What's interesting though, Joe, hitters love hitting here, but Cole Hamels says this is one of his favorite parks to pitch in. And he's had some great success in this ballpark.
He has. He's lifetime 6-0 in this ballpark with a 1.07 ERA. 3-0 in his last 4. Just amazing how you think about this as a hitter's ballpark and how he says he just feels comfortable here, and he says it reminds him of Citizens Bank Park.
I'm all for power of positive thinking, but he has the stats to back it up.
Yes, he does.
Runner goes again. Line shot right to Hamels on a hop, and he'll take the out at first. Votto hit it hard. Hamels makes a nice play as Stubbs ends up at second base. League Division Series coverage on TBS is brought to you in HD by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. And this new Reds machine, they call them. They blew a couple of gaskets on Friday night. But they're trying to generate some of that good karma from the old Big Red machine of the 70s.
Well, they need this guy to step up. They need him to do big things beginning tonight. He's 0 for 7 in the series with 5 strikeouts.
Scott Rolen, the former Philly, former Cardinal, traded from the Blue Jays to the Cincinnati Reds late last year in a deal that went under the radar a bit. Been a big contributor for Dusty Baker this season, but it has been a battle at the plate. We asked him today, how you feeling, Scott? He goes, terrible. That means I'm right where I want to be.
I said, terrible. How about you?
Yeah, and the Reds, middle of the lineup, it has been a battle. 1 for 29 strikeouts, and as Joe mentioned, Roland has 5 of those 9.
Cole Hamels, most of his career has been a fastball changeup pitcher. He's got one of the best changeups among left-handers in the game. Throws an occasional curveball. It's a good one, 12-6. But he's developed cutter off his fastball that he started working on in spring training. It's now become a real important part of his arsenal that he can cut in on the hands of the right-handed hitters.
And a called strike 3. Roland's struggles continued. 96 miles an hour from Cole Hamels. And a scoreless first inning.
0-0 in the second inning, and where a guy named Andy might wind up being the Reds' most valuable player today, even though he doesn't have a bat or a glove. Andy is the masseuse that the team sent over to Orlando Cabrera's home this morning to perform 2 45-minute treatment sessions. Now, Cabrera had said yesterday that he was less than 80%, and he didn't even know if he was going to be on the postseason roster again today. But the manipulation of his scar tissue that forced him out of Game 2 on Friday worked. He was able to convince Dusty Baker he was good to go after taking infield and 3 sessions in the batting cage. Now, the 35-year-old Cabrera has been on 4 different playoff teams in the last 4 years, which we all know. And he said, this could be my last time I could come in the postseason. I'm trying to take advantage and not take it for granted. Brian?
All right, David, thank you. And, Joe, he was doing some hardcore salesmanship before the game as he was throwing and taking batting practice, as Ibanez sends Bruce back to the track. And 1 away in the second inning. Well, let's take you back to Game 2. This was the play, Joe, where Orlando Cabrera was injured.
He had to catch the ball on his left side, then twist to his right, throw, and then jump. And he was immediately grabbing at his side. Not the oblique injury that sidelined him earlier, but something more in the rib cage area. I saw him swinging in batting practice, Brian, and he looked good. I did not see him throw the ball, and obviously he got off to a bad start tonight throwing.
That was Cabrera's error that allowed the Phillies to score their run in the first inning with 2 outs. And it's a tough call for Dusty Baker. This is the error by Cabrera in the first, and a high throw. But a tough call for Baker, knowing that he has a Gold Glove performer out there. Carlos Ruiz singles back up the middle. He has a veteran presence. Baker's backup is Paul Giannis, who is an excellent defensive player, but the Reds could use a bat right now, and that's why Cabrera is in there.
Giannis actually was in the original starting lineup, but it was all subject to whether or not Cabrera could get loose enough and feel good enough to play tonight. And that lineup change was made just about an hour and a half before game time.
So 1 out, a base runner at first. Here is Cole Hamels.
Hamels not a bad hitter. 10 hits on the year with a couple of doubles, 5 sacrifice bunts, but as hard as Cueto throws, you got to just air out that fastball and make him try to soften it if he's going to bunt.
Trying to advance Ruiz, and that's a good bunt. Hernandez to first, and the second out. Sacrifice bunt for Cole Hamels. Don't charge him with an at bat. And Ruiz into scoring position as we go back to the top of the order, and Shane Victorino. Well, the Phillies just keep the pressure on. And as the Reds were rolling along in Game 2, working on a shutout through the first 4 innings, we've chronicled the defensive breakdowns, but you have to give the Phillies credit. They came up with the big hits, and they cashed in when they needed to, just like they did in the first.
But they're not getting a lot of hits, Brian. Neither side is hitting much. Coming into this game, the first 2 games of the series, the Phillies hitting .203, the Reds .103. And of the Phillies' hits, only 2 were for extra bases, and those were doubles, no long balls. So neither team really lighten it up, and that tells you how many mistakes the Reds have made defensively to help the Phillies out.
The Phillies already with 3 hits in this game, all singles. And Victorino plays the role of run producer with Ruiz at second base.
And that's a situation he's very comfortable with. He doesn't care because he drove in 69 runs this year, bouncing from the leadoff spot down to 6th or 7th, and hit 18 homers.
12 of those home runs came as a leadoff hitter this year for Victorino in 82 games. So a little more than half the schedule at the top spot in the batting order. The Phillies without Jimmy Rollins for a good part of the early season with a calf injury, and Rollins nursing a hamstring injury as well late in the season.
That was a good pitch from Cueto, 2-0, a rare changeup from him, and it was perfectly placed, and maybe a pitch he'll need to use more often tonight.
2 balls and a strike on Victorino. And a little slapper out to Cabrera. Tied him up a little bit, but he makes the catch. And the inning is over. A scoreless inning for Johnny Cueto. Johnny Gomes leads off when we come back. Coverage on TBS is presented by BlackBerry. And a sea of red on the banks of the Ohio River. Great American Ballpark. 1-0, the Phillies lead the Reds. An unearned run in the first inning. And the river that separates Kentucky from Ohio. They call it the tri-state area, with Kentucky, Ohio, and Indiana all coming together. And they've been waiting for this moment for a long time here in Cincinnati, a great baseball town. Finally getting their first postseason game at this ballpark. Johnny Gomes leads off for the Reds. Gomes, Hernandez, and Jay Bruce.
As good as both of these pitchers are, the way this ballpark plays, you would still expect it to be a relatively high-scoring game. Again, routine fly balls turn into homers. No wind tonight. Just a beautiful night for baseball.
It's 0-2 to Gomes. Fights it off foul. Well, Johnny Gomes back in the starting lineup. He started game 1 of this best-of-5 series. And he's had to sit on the Roy Halladay no-hitter for a couple of days. As he bounces one over to Polanco. Nice easy hop, nice easy throw for out number 1. Well, tonight's stadium perspective footage is courtesy of Sony PlayStation's MLB 10, the show. Great American Ballpark, a capacity of over 42,000. And not much in the power alley department, which makes it a home run friendly ballpark. And Joe, not a lot of foul territory either.
No, it's a hitter's paradise, really. And if pitchers can keep the ball to straightaway center, you're okay. But that's not easy to do. Pretty park. And the fans love it here in Cincinnati. But you're right. Everybody donning their Cincinnati red, having to change out of their Bengal orange and black.
That's right.
About 4 o'clock today.
Now the Bengals in action against Tampa Bay earlier today. And a tough loss for the Cincinnati Bengals over at Paul Brown Stadium. Just a short walk down the Ohio from Great American Ballpark. They left their red T-shirts at home, I guess. Couldn't make it back to the car. Ramon Hernandez pops it up. Back is Utley. And Werth's coming in. He calls and catches for out number 2. Now adding to the pressure of an elimination game, Philadelphia pulls another big gun, Joe, with Cole Hamels, who is not only their most experienced postseason pitcher, but their most decorated postseason pitcher as well after his great run in 08.
NLCS MVP. He was also the World Series MVP. He has a 5-3 career record in the postseason. He went 4-0 that year in 2008. And in his career on the road in postseason, he is perfect. 3-0.
In tight, almost got a piece of Jay Bruce. And Reds fans want the same kind of call that Chase Utley got on Friday night. And what we now know did not hit Chase Utley. You'd think you'd know when a 102-mile-an-hour fastball got a piece of you.
Yeah.
But Chase is sticking to his story.
What was it he said? I kind of think I did.
But I'm not sure. I was told to go to first base. That was the pitch. And as you see, it got more of the glove. I think that's what was heard behind home plate by Bruce Dreckman, the tick of the glove and not the tick of the hand of Chase Utley.
Dusty Baker was asked about it, and he said, you know what, I did that a time or two in my career too.
Bruce pulls one, and it gets by Utley. A base hit for Jay Bruce.
When you talk about these two left-handed hitters in the lineup tonight against Cole Hamels, they're just not your routine lefties. Joey Votto's an MVP candidate in the National League. Jay Bruce, he might be 1 for 12 against Hamels, now 2 for 13, but he hasn't hit a home run off of him. Left-handers don't seem to bother either one of those guys.
We talked about the middle of the Reds order and their lack of success, but the bottom of the order, 7, 8, and 9, 0 for 17 until that hit. So that is the first safety for the bottom of the Cincinnati order. As Jay Bruce singles and Orlando Cabrera, an unusual spot in the batting order for him. Cabrera typically hits second, but batting 8th tonight for Dusty Baker.
It's his left side that is injured that he's trying to play with. But yet, when he swings, he's still able to finish with a high swing, high finish, even a one-handed finish. Doesn't seem to bother him.
Down to the count, 0-2, and a ball and 2 strikes. And the thinking behind Cabrera batting 8th instead of 2nd, if he's healthy enough to play, we asked Dusty Baker why 8th. And he says in case he can't continue in this game, he wants to have the substitution at the bottom of his order and not disrupt the top of his order later on. There's Dusty Baker, 3-time manager of the year, taking this young Reds team to the postseason. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Jay Bruce at first. And a changeup missed.
Jay Bruce only 5 out of 9 in stolen bases this year, but 3 and 2. As long as he doesn't get picked off, that'll give him a head start here. He'll be able to score easily on a double. He's got good enough speed to do that if Cabrera can connect.
Down the line, that is foul. Just got out ahead of it. That's the spot where most of Cabrera's extra base hits come, down that left field line.
For Jay Bruce, it's almost like a delayed steal with the left-handed pitcher. He has to make sure Cole Hamels is going to the plate before he takes off.
Time is called. No pitch. Ruiz wants a check.
Carlos Ruiz is a great story out of Panama. Has really made himself into a top-notch major league catcher. One of the more improved players in the league over the last couple of years since taking over on an everyday basis behind the plate for the Phillies.
We'll do it again. A 3-2. Bruce takes off and a swing and a foul tip. And it's hung on to by Ruiz. A strikeout for Hamels. 2 scoreless in the books for Cole Hamels. We head to the 3rd inning from the Queen City. Fountain Square in downtown Cincinnati, and a big crowd is out there tonight watching this game. Tonight's language of the game is brought to you by Foster's, and Joe, tonight we're talking Placido Polanco's strikeout rate.
Yeah, he only fans once every 12.8 at bats. That was second in the league to Houston's Jeff Keppinger, an outstanding 1 strikeout for every 16 at bats. Polanco puts the ball in play.
Polanco had a base hit in the first inning as Cueto deals him strike 1. That snapped an 0 for his last 22 in the postseason for Placido Polanco, dating back to the 06 World Series with Detroit. The Phillies with 3 hits through the first 2 innings, all singles, and Polanco scored the only Philly run, an unearned run, after a Cabrera error in the first.
That hit snapped an 0 for 22 postseason drought for Polanco, too. Cueto looks sharp, though. Were it not for the error, he certainly wouldn't be behind 1-0 in the first inning from that run that scored in the first inning.
Veteran catcher Ramon Hernandez weaving the young pitcher through this game. Now, Dusty Baker does not have a lot of postseason experience on this roster, but has experienced players at key roles like catcher, third base. Roland's been a part of a number of playoff seasons, contenders, world championships, as has Hernandez. And a little roller out to Phillips. Nice play. And that is the first out of the third inning.
Cueto made 2 starts against the Phillies this year, and they were good ones. One was an 8-inning outing, another a 7-inning outing, and he only allowed 2 total runs. The funny part about this guy is that as hard as he throws, he didn't strike out many. Only 3 strikeouts in those 15 innings.
Had one of the 2 Cincinnati wins against the Phillies this year. And while it looks like on paper the Phillies dominated the Cincinnati Reds this season, they were close games. The run differential pretty close. 3 walk-off victories. Reds took 2 out of 3 here, while the Phillies swept Cincinnati and Philadelphia this year. Because they're in different divisions, they face each other once in their home ballpark. Because the Phillies won 5 out of 7, but 4 of the 7 went into extra innings.
Fans all over this guy because of Chase Utley's excellent adventure the other night. How about this? He says he got hit by the pitch. Well, he didn't. And then he got to second base. He was called safe, but replay showed he was out. And then at third base, there were some questions whether or not he actually hit third base. After all that, he scored the tying run.
And Utley swings and fouls one away. Hangs in there, ball and 2 strikes. That's a good way to put it. An excellent adventure for Chase Utley, and that was a big part of the Phillies' comeback.
There are people, though, that say he touched third base, and one of them is Scott Rolen, the third baseman for the Reds, who said he thought he brushed it with the inside of his foot.
So of the 4 bases he achieved, 3 of them had question marks.
And the fans are all over him tonight here.
See what he's done this NLDS. Flew out to center field, deep center field in the first, and he lays off. A lot of full counts for Johnny Cueto in the early going tonight. Had a wipe of the brow of the first inning, giving up just the 1 run after the error. 3 3-2 counts in this game. Got him. Went with a slider, and down goes Utley.
That's his out pitch, and he made a good pitch with it. Down and in, looked like a back foot slider. So Utley, that's where Hernandez wanted. He put the glove right down there. Man, he dropped it right on the glove. That was awesome. And Utley swings right over the top of it. This guy's last win, believe it or not, was August 27th. So it's been a long time for him to get in the win column, and only went 2-5 in his last 10 starts.
Brian Howard fouls one away. Big cut from the big slugger. Howard singled his last time up, but again, a catchable ball on most nights in the major leagues. But the Cincinnati Reds, not only do they put the shift on in the infield for Howard, but they position their outfielders very deep, especially the corner outfielders in Gomes and Bruce.
Yeah, look how deep Gomes is out there in left field. That's why that hit in the first inning dropped in front of him. But Ryan has tremendous power the other way.
Strike.
And you think of Ryan Howard, you think of him as predominantly a pull hitter, and that's not necessarily the case. He can scatter it around. Yeah, 73 of them to right field, but pretty good totals to center and left as well.
Here's the 1-2, and Howard lays off. Count evens at 2 balls, 2 strikes on Howard. Cueto looking for his best inning here, a 3-up, 3-down inning if he could retire Ryan Howard. And a little changeup. Scott Rolen, tough play, long throw. Howard beats it out. As Ryan Howard twice has taken advantage of defensive alignment for the Cincinnati Reds.
Well, not only that, he's taken advantage of some pitches that were pretty good pitchers' pitches. He got jammed first time up and fought one off. This one was a pretty good pitch down and away, might have even been off the plate, and it was a changeup, and he hit it right off the end of the bat. Look how far he reached out to get that ball. And knowing that Roland was playing shortstop, he knew he had a chance and went bolting out of the box. If Ryan Howard can bolt.
Second hit for Ryan Howard. 4th hit of the game for the Phillies. All singles. And it'll give Jayson Werth a chance at the plate with 2 away. One thing you noticed early here, as you see Ramon Hernandez behind the plate, a lot of shifting, a lot of moving, late signals, trying to do all he can to disrupt the Philadelphia Phillies if they are looking at the catcher to figure out where they will position the pitches.
Well, everyone we talked to with regard to Johnny Cueto and how would he fare tonight to a man, everyone told us from the Reds organization was it'll be dependent on his command if he's going to throw strikes. And so far tonight, he's done a great job of locating his fastball, and he saw a brilliant pitch on the slider to Utley.
See what Hernandez wants. A throw to first, not a bad idea.
Ooh, was that quick. Man, oh man, did he get those feet moving.
Howard will be on the move with a crack of the bat.
Mendes wants this up. You see him up high with the target. And he gets it right where he wanted it, but Werth wouldn't offer.
Well, and that has to be a good sign for Dusty Baker and Brian Price, his pitching coach. The fact that he is throwing it where Hernandez wants it.
He wants Cueto to shake him off.
Coming back with a slider, and it bounces. Good play back there by Hernandez to keep Howard at first.
Tough hop on the slider. But anytime you see either one of these catchers shaking their head at the pitchers or giving the sign, they want the pitcher to shake them off.
Looked like Johnny Bench back there, one-handing it like a first baseman.
I'm sure Mr. Bench is here tonight somewhere.
Big cut and a miss. Cueto strikes out Werth. And the inning is over. Johnny Cueto with 2 strikeouts in a scoreless 3rd inning. 100 Joe Nuxhall Way in Cincinnati, Ohio. Great American Ballpark. Glad you're with us tonight. It is Game 3 of the National League Division Series. Brian Anderson, Joe Simpson, and David Aldridge. Scott Cockrell, our producer, and Renardo Lowe directing tonight's game. 1-0 Phillies. An unearned run in the first after a Cabrera error in that first inning. Cole Hamels has had base runners in each of the first 2 innings on a couple of hits as he faces Reds pitcher Johnny Cueto to start it. Pops up a bunt. Ruiz makes the play for out number 1. Well, coming to TBS this November, the most anticipated television event since television's last most anticipated television event, Joe. Conan premieres November 8th at 11:10 Central only on TBS. TeamCoco.com for more information.
The much anticipated return of Conan O'Brien.
Top of the order as Hamels faces Drew Stubbs, 25-year-old center fielder. Stubbs with his first postseason hit in the first inning, an infield single. Now 1 for 6 in this playoff. That one's hit hard to left, but Ibanez right there for out number 2.
One of the things about the left fielders and how deep they play in this park, Brian, is that it's not very far out there. So you can play it a little bit like the Green Monster in Boston. You can either choose to play deep and come in and play everything off the wall, or you can play shallow and try to take some singles away from hitters, knowing that anything over your head is either going to be a homer or a double, but at least you take away some line drives.
Hamels facing Brandon Phillips. Moves his feet a little bit. Well, the Reds are getting some good swings at Hamels. You had line drive outs from Stubbs and Brandon Phillips. Phillips hit one sharply in the first inning to center field. That great catch by Victorino. In the air to right, playable for Jayson Werth. And an easy inning for Cole Hamels. 3 in the books in Game 3. We head to the 4th. The Phillies are coming up. in the book at Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. 1-0 Philadelphia, and we head to the Philadelphia fourth inning. Jimmy Rollins will lead off. Rollins, Ibanez, and Ruiz, 6, 7, and 8 in the Philadelphia lineup. Rollins batting in the 6th spot in the batting order in consecutive games, and the first 2 games of his postseason career batting in the 6th spot. Charlie Manuel has plenty of weapons. He has not been real pleased with his offense. Talked about the numbers of the Phillies during this postseason, but he is pleased with the 2 wins and a chance to knock the Reds out of the postseason, and a chance for the Phillies to advance to the National League Championship Series with a win tonight.
He was asked in his press conference yesterday if there was any hope for the Reds to beat his big 3 and the Phillies 3 straight games to win this series, and he goes, well, yeah, there's a chance. And he said, I guess it could happen. He said, it's not going to happen, but it could happen.
That is a very confident team, and rightly so. They've done a lot of winning. The Phillies are in the postseason for the 4th consecutive year. As Rollins takes ball 4, draws the walk, and a leadoff base runner in this 4th inning. So you can catch all the action of the 2010 Major League Baseball Division Series on TBS and Fox for the Championship Series. Got some good series going on now. The Yankees end up with the sweep and advance to the ALCS. But earlier today, the Tampa Bay Rays defeat the Rangers in Texas. They're headed back to St. Pete, as that series will go to a Game 5. And of course, the Braves and the Giants just before us. Giants winning 3-2, and now a 2-1 lead over Atlanta.
That's right after the Braves had taken the lead in the bottom of the 8th on an Eric Hinsky pinch hit homer. But with Billy Wagner out, the Braves couldn't close the deal in the 9th.
Ibanez swing and a miss. Giants got a great pitching performance today from Jonathan Sanchez. Tim Hudson pitched well for Atlanta.
Some great clutch hitting too in the 9th for the Giants, especially by Aubrey Huff, after Mike Dunn had been brought in to pitch to him. Game 4 tomorrow. Rollins saw that move coming. He was already headed back to the bag. I don't know what kind of a threat he might be to steal still, Brian, because his leg's still bothering him. He's not at 100%. Maybe on a hit and run play, but on a straight steal, he'd have to guess right, go on his first move.
Now with more on Jimmy Rollins, we check in with David Aldridge. David?
Joe, you're exactly right. He doesn't even know how much he can do running the bases. He said he can steal a base if the team needs him to steal one. I don't know if that's this situation. But he said working the last week of the regular season playing in Washington and Atlanta really helped him, especially in Atlanta, because they had sellout crowds there. And he said the most important thing was working on the hand signals defensively that he needs to use on the road with Placido Polanco at third and Chase Utley at second.
Now Rollins just returned to the lineup late the last week of the season after missing 15 games with a hamstring injury. And he also said the excitement of the crowd in Atlanta pushed him a little bit, maybe even a little further than he wanted to go, and he realized that he bounced back okay. So that answered a big question for him leading into the playoffs.
Well, naturally your adrenaline's going to take over in the postseason, even with an injury, and sometimes push you to do some things that you're not yet physically ready to do.
Ball and 2 strikes on Raul Ibanez. Into center field, routine for Drew Stubbs. And Rollins tags but stops. Stubbs has a great arm as well. So the first out for Cueto.
This guy Stubbs in center field is going to be a household name in baseball in the years to come, because he is a Gold Glove in the making here in center field. Can go get him, can throw, and his bat's coming around too. Had a very good second half.
From Atlanta, Texas, near Texarkana, now lives in Austin, and a former Longhorn. Strike 2, Ruiz. Here's a guy that just wears out an opposing pitcher. Down at the bottom of that order. Had a .400 on base percentage during the regular season. Singled in the second inning. As Roland plays that one, tough hop, tough throw. The turn not in time. Oh, the Reds fortunate to get an out there. Scott Roland not moving as well as he'd like, but he does get the out at second. 2 away now with a runner at first.
A very, very unorthodox throw, having to throw running away from home plate and try to get it to second base. Played that second hop. Fortunate that it did come up for him, but they did get the lead runner, 2 down.
So Cole Hamels will hit with 2 away. Hamels dropped down a sacrifice bunt his last time up. And now it's in the air. Coming in is Stubbs. And he's got it for the out. So Cueto is cruising along here. Another scoreless inning. And now the Reds MVP, Joey Votto, ready to lead off when we come back. Postseason baseball on TBS, and they are looking for something to get revved up about here at Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. They've got the middle of their order coming up. Joey Votto to lead off against Cole Hamels. 1-0 Phillies. A first inning unearned run for Philadelphia. Votto had a key at bat in the first inning. Reds had a base runner on. Votto was up there in a 3-0 count. And Hamels was able to retire Joey Votto in that first inning. Got him on a bouncer back to the mound, although Votto hit it well. It's a good play by Cole Hamels.
How about this for the Phillies defense? You got a catcher, a first baseman, a second baseman, a shortstop, and a center fielder. 5 guys that are making their 33rd straight postseason start for the Phillies. 5 guys. That's the most for one team with the 5 same players in Major League history. And that's the consistency of this Phillies ball club over the last several years.
And they are starting to move into a territory where you start to hear phrases like dynasty. Because the Phillies, having won the World Series in 2008, they won the National League pennant again last year. And a number of their star players locked up to long-term contracts because of the success and because of all of that postseason experience. As Votto bangs one out to chase Utley. One away, and now it's time to talk. Brought to you by Charles Schwab. Moments ago, we talked with Rich Doobie, the Philly pitching coach. We asked him about Cole Hamels.
Well, so far he's under control. He's commanding his fastball and moving quick outs, so that's always beneficial.
Rich, he really developed another pitch, I guess, since the beginning of spring training, that cutter. And how much has that been part of his success here in the second half?
Well, he's got 4 now. His curveball has become a lot more consistent also, but the cutter allows him to pound right-handers in pretty good to protect his changeup, which he's got a tremendous one of. So it's giving him a chance to work to both sides of the plate and speed right-handers up and then slow him down away.
Well, Joe, you talked about, and our thanks to Rich Doobie, but you talked about the experience of the position players. But because the Phillies have assembled this pitching staff with Oswalt, who you saw having a little fun with Rich Doobie there, and then Cole Hamels, Roy Halladay, if this thing goes to a Game 4 tomorrow, that's why the Phillies and their fans may be feeling like this is the best team they have assembled under this regime.
With the way baseball is played today, Brian, to think that you have 5 guys that have made 33 straight starts in the postseason, that's pretty incredible that you've kept those guys together as long as they've been together. And now with this staff, it's pretty challenging for everybody else in baseball.
Scott Rolen back up the middle. That's a base hit. So Roland gets the skunk out of the box. His first postseason hit this year after an 0 for 8.
That'll get him going. Almost clipped Cole Hamels on the way by. So when you're 0 for in the postseason, you'll take anything right now, and that'll get Scott Rolen going. Reds fans hope. Again, they need him. They need Scott Rolen to have a big night and hopefully propel the Reds into Game 4.
Here's Johnny Gomes. Well, we were talking about in Game 2 the Reds needing a signature moment, something to break them free a little bit, allow them to get into this series. It looked like the Reds had their moments in Game 2, out to a 4-0 lead, to let it all get away, as they are searching for another one of those moments here tonight, down 1-0.
Love Johnny Gomes and the way he works that helmet over. He reminds me of a bull rider sitting in the chute, still sitting on the bull, waiting to tell the gate operator to let's dance. I mean, he's pulling his hat down and making sure it sticks on there, getting ready for that next pitch.
A strike to Gomes. Doesn't like the call.
Good changeup. That's what Rich Doobie's talking about, though, is trying to use the cutter in on the hands of the right-handed hitters so that then Hamels can go away with the changeup, and that was a very nice changeup there.
2 balls and a strike on Gomes, and he takes one high and away. Gomes with 1 career hit against Hamels. It was a home run. 18 homers this year and a career high in RBIs with 86. Reds fans are ready to get rowdy tonight. As Gomes fouls it away.
You and I were talking about it between innings, though, Brian. The Reds offense kind of waiting for that one big moment to kind of get them cranked up. They actually had some in game 2. They took a 4-0 lead, hit a couple of homers, but they squandered that lead. They need something big to happen tonight.
Full count to Gomes. And he's out in front. So Johnny Gomes could not wait on the changeup.
Put in a perfect place right there at the back of the plate. Just died about shoe top high. But a lot of confidence. Again, he's got one of the best changeups in the game. He'll throw it in any count, as you just saw. Great location with it.
A pitch that he learned watching Trevor Hoffman do his thing in San Diego. Hamels from the San Diego area and watched the all-time saves leader use that changeup so effectively. Bouncing ball, Hernandez to Utley, a race to the bag. Utley beats Roland and the side retired. So the Reds make a little noise here in the 4th, but another scoreless inning for Hamels. Downtown Cincinnati, the Phillies and the Reds, game 3 of this NLDS. Phillies with an unearned run in the first inning. Orlando Cabrera committing an error. And a late addition to this starting lineup for Dusty Baker. But Johnny Cueto has pitched well. He has given up some hits. The Phillies have 4 hits through the first 4 innings. Cueto has issued the 1 walk as he faces the top of the Phillies order. And Joe, now the 3rd time through the batting order for Cueto.
And it was a good start for that pitch on Victorino. Took a little off on a breaking ball.
See what the Phillies have done tonight. Victorino is 0 for 2, but he hit one sharply in the second inning, out to Orlando Cabrera for the final out of the second. Ryan Howard with a couple of hits. Polanco, the lone run, scored. Yanks it foul again.
See how far inside that pitch was, and he yanked it almost into the Cincinnati dugout. He is so quick inside. The target's down and in. It had the inner third, and he pulled it almost behind him. It was just a show pitch to see if he would chase something out there. Change his eye level a little bit. See if they try that slider again and try it down and in. And then try a backdoor.
Victorino doesn't chase. Count evens at 2-2.
To this point, though, Cueto's done his job, Brian. I mean, he's had base runners, but other than the unearned run, he's pitched out of trouble. Just needs the offense to kick it in gear.
And a bouncing ball out to Votto. He'll take it himself. Victorino is out. And now it's time to talk, brought to you by Charles Schwab. Moments ago, we chatted with Dusty Baker, the Reds manager, and we asked him about the decision-making process on getting Orlando Cabrera in the lineup tonight.
Well, our doctor saw him, and thank God, the modern medicine, and he was fine. He swung fine, he threw fine. I know he made it today, but hey, man, he was all right to play the game, and I had Giannis to back him up if anything happened.
Dusty, in light of what happened in Game 2, what can you say to your club to help get that behind them and focus on today's game?
Well, it's already behind us. I mean, it was behind us when that game was over with. And the only thing you can do is just play today. The only thing in your control is today. And that's what I told my club. Let's go out and play. Let's play ball. And, hey, man, I got a great feeling about today's game.
Well, Dusty Baker, his third season as the skipper of the Reds, a couple of losing seasons in his first 2 years. The Reds last year, 78 and 84, but Baker is a manager that has plenty of postseason experience, and he navigates this young club into the postseason again this year. 3 times the manager of the year, Dusty Baker. But he's had some rough finishes to his postseasons. The collapse in 2002 as the manager of the Giants. Baker was 9 outs away from a World Series win and a 5-0 lead. Of course, the Angels came back to win that, and then the Bartman contest of 2003 as Baker managed the Cubs, knocked out in the LCS. But he has found his way back, and he has a 2-year contract extension to show for it.
Well, they've got a bright future building here in Cincinnati. They've got some good young pitchers. One that you're watching right now in Cueto. We saw Volquez in Game 1. They got Mike Leake, who unfortunately got hurt during the season. Kid out of Arizona State.
Long run for Jay Bruce. He's there. And Polanco is retired. 2 up, 2 down for Johnny Cueto.
Homer Bailey, along with Bronson Arroyo and Aaron Harang, a couple of veterans. And they've got some big arms in the bullpen. So what they've got going on here is pretty strong in Cincinnati and should only get better.
And Dusty Baker and the general manager, Walt Jocketty. A couple of guys in leadership positions who have had a lot of success in the major leagues. Walt Jocketty, the general manager of those great Cardinal teams earlier this decade and that World Championship team in 06. Chase Utley with 2 away. He is 0 for 2 against Cueto. That one is hit high and deep right center field. Back is Bruce. Back is Stubbs. Stubbs leaps, and that one is gone. Up and out of here as Chase Utley gives the Phillies a 2-0 lead. It looked like the fan made contact on the proper side of the wall. Stubbs saying he might have had a chance at an out. But as long as he doesn't lead over, it won't affect the home run call.
He couldn't get that slider down and in. Remember, they struck him out with one on his back foot last time up, and Stubbs gave it a great effort. He's 6'4", but it does not appear that the fans reached over the railing here, even though Dusty Baker's going to go out and ask Gary Cedarstrom what he saw. But Utley just gawked that hanging slider.
Now remember that this is available for review. It is a boundary call, and you can see right down the line. And it looks like the fan is on the safe side of the railing there. But this ballpark, Joe, this is a ballpark that you see a lot of plays like this, and there's the questions of interference, and they have the most umpire reviews this year on boundary balls in the National League. The Minnesota Twins at Target Field had the most in all of baseball, and the umpires are going to go ahead and go to the video room and take a look.
Hey, to their credit, it doesn't appear that there's any grounds for any interference, but to their credit, they're going to make sure and get it right. And what I'm going by as much as anything, and I think our shot from right down the fence line kind of spells it out, but when you watch Drew Stubbs jump into the stands, his glove goes back into the crowd to try and catch it. It's not like he's jumping straight up.
And the key line in this summary here: need clear and convincing evidence to overturn a call. And the umpires, they'll leave one umpire out in the field, and this is what the box looks like. Now, these replays come from New York. They have access to all of our cameras, and they'll provide all the replays that the umpires need. It's the crew chief and the crew chief alone who will make the decision.
And I believe that's a toll-free call.
That is right. No quarters necessary. And there is the call. It is a home run. So John Hirschbeck, the crew chief, makes the call for a home run. Chase Utley's clout will stand here in a 2-0 Philadelphia lead.
See how Stubbs is trying to reach into the crowd to get it and bring it back? It was a good idea to make that appeal, but no interference.
Pretty simple ground rules here in Cincinnati, but they do run into reviewable plays quite often, because the fans are so close to the wall and can lean out over. But the right call was made, 2-0 Philadelphia. And here's Ryan Howard into the shift as Brandon Phillips takes care of him. Inning over, but the Phillies tack one on as Chase Utley belts a home run to give the Phillies a 2-0 lead. Coverage on TBS is presented by BlackBerry. Back in Cincinnati now, the Reds in a do-or-die situation, trailing 2-0 to the Phillies after Chase Utley's 10th career postseason home run, his first home run of the 2010 playoffs. Jay Bruce leads off, sends one high in the air, foul territory. And it is Ruiz who makes the catch, out number one.
This big three of the Phillies, H2O as they're called, with Hamels being one of the H's. They're so tough when you give them a lead. That's why Dusty Baker talked about before the game about how big it would be to get an early lead on Hamels and then try to add to it, put him in a spot where he had to make good pitches, not being able to afford to give up any more runs. But you give these guys a few runs to work with and they just get doubly tough.
Well, it was an unearned run in the first inning. The Phillies scored 7 runs in game 2, 5 of them unearned. That gave them the lead in that first inning after an error by Cabrera, but then Utley's home run makes it 2-0 as Cabrera bats for the second time. The pitcher spot is due up next, Johnny Cueto. He's pitched well, but Hamels at this point has been better. And Howard will take it himself. So 2 men are out in the 5th, and decision time for Dusty Baker. On a regular season game, it would almost be a no-brainer. You'd send Cueto back out there, try to get as many innings as you can. But there's nowhere to go after a loss tonight for the Reds. So Cueto comes back. His night is over, and Dusty Baker will go to the bench.
Like Miguel Cairo coming out. And that's too bad for Cueto, as well as he's pitched tonight. Gave up the home run, but really it ought to be a 1-0 game at this point. Made that good pitch to Utley to strike him out on the slider in the 3rd inning. Tried to go back to it in the 5th, and he hit it straight up. But in this ballpark, again, routine fly balls are homers. That ball just to the left of the 370 mark in right center, or maybe a 375-foot fly ball.
Well, Johnny Cueto goes 5 innings, gives up 2 runs, 1 earned on a walk and a couple of strikeouts. And certainly not feeling it at this moment, but this will be valuable experience for him as he moves on in his career. The pinch hitter is Miguel Cairo, the former Philly. That's with 2 outs and nobody aboard. And Hamels starts him with a strike. Cole Hamels has been efficient tonight. Had a 6-pitch inning in the 3rd. Gave up a single last inning, but still a quick inning for Hamels. And 2 quick outs here in the 5th.
Well, he's been sharp too. He's made good pitches. That was the breaking ball. He hasn't used it very much, but mostly fastball, cutter, and slider. And changeup. And his changeup has been excellent, as it usually is.
Miguel Cairo 2 for 4 against Hamels in his career. Not much of a sample size. And when you're running against pitching like this, with Halladay and Oswalt and Hamels, it can create some anxious moments for your offense in that dugout with time running out for the Reds. And Cairo is down on strikes. Cole Hamels, a 9-pitch inning. Yet another strikeout, and he's working on a shutout through 5. Square in downtown Cincinnati had 4,000 for a rally there on Monday for their postseason. And a big crowd has filed down to the fountain. Those who could not make it in the ballpark in this sellout crowd. First home playoff game for Cincinnati baseball fans since 1995. 2-0 Phillies. Homer Bailey is out of the Reds bullpen.
He was a starter for them, as you see this season. 19 starts, a lot of strikeouts, throws hard, fastball, curveball, slider, and a split finger pitch. 91 to 95 on his fastball, and he likes to establish it early and try to work hitters inside before he goes to the breaking stuff.
Bailey, a first rounder out of LaGrange, Texas, and a guy that the Reds are counting on, big part of their rotation next year. As he punches out Jayson Werth, he throws a lot of fastballs, and he has a good one, 96-mile-an-hour heater. Down goes Werth for out number 1. TBS this November, welcome to college. For these freshmen, the rush is on. Don't miss the series premiere of Glory Days, November 16th at 10, 9 Eastern, only on TBS.
He was a guy they liked so much. I think they rushed him a little bit to the big leagues, and he had a hard time having success as a result. 08, he was 0-6 with a 7.93 ERA before they did him the favor of letting him go back and work on some stuff. But he looks like he's ready now.
Still just 24 years of age. Well, he was not around much in the first half. A shoulder injury that the Reds were concerned about, but he came back. They worked him back into the starting rotation. His last time on the mound was 8 days ago. The second to last game of the season. He went 5 innings against the Milwaukee Brewers. He struck out 10. Talk about a postseason tune-up.
Yeah. Pretty good pitch there with his breaking ball. 6'3", 210, a real long, loose arm.
Jimmy Rollins in a hitter's count. Has a line out and a walk tonight. And he hits that one hard past a diving Phillips, and a base hit for Jimmy Rollins.
Again, demonstrating how good a fastball hitter he is, and right on top of the plate. Back foot right on the inside line, and the fastball was right there, right in the middle of the plate, and he didn't miss it.
Jimmy Rollins with his first postseason hit this year. And now Raul Ibanez. A very anxious crowd here in Cincinnati with their Reds down 2 runs to the Phillies and staring at elimination tonight, down 2 games to none in this best-of-5 series.
And they know they can't afford to give up any more runs. Not the way Hamels is pitching.
Well, the Phillies make no bones about it. They show up to the ballpark today in suits with bags packed. They're in their travel attire. They want to wrap it up tonight and head back to Philadelphia to prepare for the National League Championship Series, which will start next Saturday, or this coming Saturday. Yeah, cut and a miss. Another 96-mile-an-hour fastball from Bailey.
And he'll do that. And he's got a good enough fastball, he can get away with it. He can go upstairs and elevate up high. But on Ibanez, you better get it about chin high or helmet high. Normally a very good fastball hitter himself.
Reds are looking for a ground ball to turn 2. And a little cue shot foul. He took a little off, and Ibanez out in front.
And he is a double play candidate. Doesn't run that well.
Well, in another year, Jimmy Rollins would never be standing at first base this long.
No.
But it's a different kind of season for Rollins. He is a different kind of player this time around.
Because of the leg injuries that have slowed him down this season. He led off the fourth inning with a walk and never took off until there was a ground ball hit by Ruiz. But as David Aldridge alluded to, he's still a threat over there. He's just got to pick his spots if he's going to run. And even Jimmy might not know how his leg will respond until he takes off.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Ibanez. And a swing and a miss. Down he goes. Bailey back with the heat. Strikes him out. 2 punch outs in the 6th inning. An impressive fastball from Homer Bailey.
96. You see Hernandez up out of his crouch. He wanted it upstairs. Got it there. Top of the zone. And at 96, very tough to catch up to, even for a good fastball hitter.
Well, it's a key inning for Cincinnati. They have to keep the Reds, or rather the Phillies, at 2 runs. At the top of the order, coming up in the bottom of the 6th, the Reds, as Bailey keeps firing the number 1, which presents a great matchup. A pitcher with a big fastball and one of the best fastball hitters in baseball in Carlos Ruiz.
Ruiz, when he was scouted, was actually being scouted as a second baseman and pitcher because of his size. And the scouts weren't all that high on him as a second baseman. And then when the local scouts said, well, you know, he could catch too, they put the gear on him, and all of a sudden he became a whole lot more appealing because of how quick he was out of the crouch throwing. Exhibited a very good arm. Phillies signed him, sent him to their Dominican Republic training camp, their rookie camp there, and he had to work his way up from there. Signed him for $8,000.
Scott Rolen bobbles. Boy, Scott Rolen. Another error for Roland. And that look tells it all. This is a guy who has won 7 Gold Gloves as one of the great defensive third basemen in the game. Hard to figure.
Went to the ground and made the play just fine, but couldn't hang on to it in the glove. Roland on the year just made 8 errors all year. He's made 2 in this series. Phillips made 3 errors all year long, and he made 2 in game 2.
There was an error in the first, cost the Reds a run. The Reds have now committed 7 errors in this series in 2.5 games. And if nothing else, it clears the pitcher spot as Cole Hamels bats with 2 on. We have a little smirk from Hamels. And it sounded like a strike.
Yes.
Well, you're almost doing him a favor throwing a breaking ball, but that was a pretty good one from Bailey.
That snapped off pretty good. I wouldn't want to speed up his bat and give him another chance to swing at it, though.
Two on, 2 out. And the 0-2 to Hamels, who just got a piece. For Reds fans who have watched this team all season long, it hardly looks like the team that won the National League Central this year. A team that made their mark defensively. And even though they led in most offensive categories, they usually make the plays. As Hamels breaks his bat, coming in is Jay Bruce. He's got it. Inning over. The Phillies strand 2. The top of the order is coming up. Al Ripken, Howie Long, and some of the biggest names in sports have to say about today's hot topics in sports. Check out Behind the Mic, presented by Allstate, exclusively on SI.com. The Reds are running out of time here. We head to the bottom of the 6th inning. Cole Hamels pitching a shutout through the first 5. Hamels with 4 Ks and has given up just 3 Cincinnati hits. Drew Stubbs, Reds leadoff hitter, has 1 of those 3 hits, an infield single in the first.
Cole got off to a slow start. He had a bad April, but since then he's been really good and finished with a flourish in September. 2.33 ERA overall after the All-Star break. And while he gave up 26 homers on the year, only 7 came after the All-Star break. And only 1 home run in his last 8 road starts. I'd say he does like pitching here, Brian.
As Stubbs cuts and misses, down he goes on strikes. And Hamels with 5 Ks now. Cole Hamels' first career complete game happened right here at Great American Park.
Yeah, and struck out 15, which is his career high.
So unusual to hear a pitcher say, I enjoy pitching in this ballpark. It's such a hitter-friendly stadium. Made his major league debut here in 06. Had that 15 strikeout game in 07. And he's trying to send the Phillies to the NLCS.
Only leadoff man the Reds have been able to get on base tonight was Stubbs, leading off the game with that infield hit. So it's been hard for them to muster any kind of big inning. And remember, right after that infield hit, Shane Victorino made the play of the series, robbing Phillips of extra bases.
Well, that was an early play, the second batter for the Reds, and it is proving to be one of the big plays of this game at this point.
And Hamels certainly falls into that category as one of those pitchers that if you can get to him early, you better do that, because he only gets better as the game goes on.
He's been very efficient tonight. Phillips breaks his bat. And Jimmy Rollins takes care of him. 2 up, 2 down for Cole Hamels. Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. Brian Anderson, Joe Simpson, David Aldridge. Great to have you with us tonight. Game 3 of the National League Division Series, a series that the Phillies lead 2-0. And a chance to close out the Reds here this evening. Joey Votto will bat with 2 away. Cole Hamels has been outstanding so far.
Votto got a pitch to hit there and could only foul it back.
Votto in his first postseason, 0 for 2, a couple of groundouts against Hamels tonight.
Spreading it around. He's not typically a ground ball or fly ball pitcher per se. So he's right on track. But no walks tonight for Cole Hamels, and that's important in this ballpark too, just like it is in his home ballpark.
He has Votto down in the count, a ball and 2 strikes. And Votto stays alive. Hamels with that great run in 08. And those who have seen him in this final month of the year saying he might be better than he was in 08. That's hard to imagine. Statistically, Hamels 4-0 in the postseason in 2008. He won in the division series last year, just a few hours before his son was born. Remember, Joey finished his 5 innings against the Rockies, then he left the ballpark, and next thing you know, he's a father.
Well, he went on the Rubber Chicken Banquet Tour after the World Series in 08, and he said it really affected him in 09 in terms of his preparation for the season. He got caught up in all the postseason appearances, but rededicated himself last winter. And Charlie Manuel was telling us tonight that he thinks the regimen and the work efforts of Roy Halladay have rubbed off on Cole Hamels too, and he sees how that ace works and how hard it takes for him, what kind of effort he puts into each of his between start workouts. And Cole's begun doing similar things. It's really paying off for him. Mr. Halladay would pitch tomorrow if there's a game 4.
3-2 to Joey Votto. And down he goes. Votto, a swing and a miss. Cole Hamels pitching like an ace as well for the Phillies. A 3-up, 3-down inning. We are through 6. And the Phillies lead 2-0.
The office of the commissioner. Telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
We are back in Cincinnati, Great American Ballpark. And the Phillies leading 2-0 over the Reds. Phillies up 2-0 in the series, hoping to advance to the NLCS with a win here tonight. Homer Bailey is back on the mound for the Reds. An impressive 6th inning. Did allow a hit, but he had a couple of punch outs. And throwing a big fastball tonight.
Reds have already been through their batting order 3 times through 6 innings. So this is the 4th time through. It's only the 7th. That's the way they work, turning their order over quickly at the bottom.
Shane Victorino, a base hit. Leadoff single for the Phillies leadoff man. His first hit of the night.
And unlike Rollins, he is healthy and might be running.
Our bullpen spotlight delivered by UPS. let UPS put the power of logistics to work for you. And if the Reds are going to win tonight, Joe, it's going to have to come from their bullpen. And they had a pretty good year winning games out of their pen this season.
Yeah, all 4 of those top 4 teams in the postseason.
Has a lot to do with a high-powered offense for the Reds and their ability to come back. They're high on the list for comeback wins this year. And it's going to take something like that here tonight. Cole Hamels is on his game. 6 shutout innings, 6 strikeouts, no walks. And Hamels has retired the last 8. Placido Polanco had a single and a run scored in the first. 1 for 3 tonight. Victorino takes off. Hit and run is on as Polanco fouls it away. Well, in case the Reds run into any more trouble, 2 ready in the bullpen. Bill Bray is the left-hander. Nick Massett, the hard-throwing right-hander. Got Utley and Howard scheduled to hit next. A couple of left-handed hitters coming up.
See if they do something to hold Victorino, maybe shorten up, try to get him to shorten his lead some. A lot of credit today and a story in Philadelphia being given to Davey Lopes, their first base coach, by Charlie Manuel, who said he just turned over the running game to Davey. Let him take it. And the Phillies have led the National League in stolen base percentage each of the last 4 years, an average of 84% success rate.
And if you go to the register and you look at Davey Lopes' playing career, that's about his success rate as a base stealer. So he has passed it on, and it puts so much pressure on the opposing pitcher and the defense. Phillies have been known in this run here, the last 3 postseasons, with that great offense. Of course, they had Cliff Lee last year, Cole Hamels in 08, but they put the best pitching staff together, at least in the starting rotation, and the top 3 starters of all the teams in this postseason in 2010. Bouncing ball, chance for 2. Cabrera to Phillips, the turn in time. A 6-4-3 double play. Victorino not running, and the Reds are able to turn up 2.
Shane Victorino may have taken one right in the chops too when he slid into second base. He may have slid right into the knee of Brandon Phillips. Here's the play. Tried to take Phillips out. Brandon lifted his leg to avoid the tag. He may have caught him with his knee right. Well, his foot, actually. The foot was trailing and kicked him.
Brings to mind the play in Toronto in the regular season in the middle of the summer with Justin Morneau of the Twins taking a shot like that at second base, and he did not return this year. Had a concussion.
Watch the foot. Trailing foot caught him.
So we'll keep an eye on him. 2 away. Chase Utley, the batter. That one's hit well left field. Johnny Gomes with room. Inning over. Stretch time in Cincinnati. We're headed to the bottom of the 7th inning. Roland, Gomes, Hernandez. Reds down 2. are hoping they'll be a part of the party tomorrow on TBS as the postseason continues. This crowd has been anxiously awaiting a moment. Cole Hamels has not offered that moment at this point.
He's thrown a 3-hit shutout through 6 innings. He has set down 8 in a row and 13 of the last 14. A very stress-free night after a little bit of a scare in the first inning. In fact, that's the only inning in which the Reds have had a runner reach scoring position.
3 singles tonight for Cincinnati. Stubbs, Jay Bruce, and Scott Rolen. And at no point have the Reds had multiple base runners on. But they still have time. They're only down 2. They're getting good pitching tonight, Cincinnati. Holding the Phillies to just 2 runs, one of them unearned. And now in the middle of the batting order coming up for Cincinnati.
And like Citizens Bank Park, 2 runs or nothing here. But what is a problem is just getting base runners on against Cole Hamels, who's pitching like he has the entire second half of the season. The Reds had a great record against left-handed starters in this ballpark. They were 20-7 at Great American Ballpark against lefty starters.
So Reds fans wondering where the most prolific offense in the National League is. But you have to give a lot of credit to the Philadelphia pitching. As Roland, another cut and a miss.
We asked that question at the beginning of the series, Brian. You know, we'll find out. Does good pitching stop good hitting? So far it has.
Got the no-hitter by Roy Halladay. Reds actually got 2, Roy Oswalt, but let one get away in game 2 as Roland sends one foul. Ball and 2 strikes on Scott Rolen. Roland with 35 postseason games under his belt. This is the one player that Dusty Baker is counting on for that postseason experience to show up here. Roland's had a rough series with the glove, which is his strength.
Right-handers hit 50 points higher against Hamels this year than lefties. They hit 21 homers off of him. Lefties only 5. So it might be up to these right-handed hitters to get something going and set up some damage against him, because he's too tough otherwise for the left-handed hitters.
Here's the 1-2, and Roland gets under it. And that'll head back into the seats.
Again, it's a very pleasant night. He's only thrown 82 pitches. He's had some easy innings. He's had 3 1-2-3 innings and has set down 13 of the last 14. He's on cruise control.
And Roland is down on strikes. So that is number 7 for Cole Hamels. Well, tonight's Yahoo MLB Stat Summary is brought to you by BlackBerry Torch. And we're talking about home runs by stadium in the National League. You see the Great American Ballpark with 184. The home of the Reds, the home of the Phillies, Citizens Bank Park on that list as well. For detailed MLB stats and information, go to MLB.yahoo.com. I think that stat reveals more than just the home runs. This is a home run friendly ballpark, but the Reds led the National League in home runs this year. And it's kind of a testament to their pitching and how well they pitched to be able to keep that number at even that level.
They had the 5th best home record in the National League, going 49-32. But they're also playing against a team, the Phillies, who tied for second with a second best road record in the National League, 43-35.
This is a team that led the National League in the Triple Crown stats as a team. They led the league in batting average, home runs, RBIs. As a group, they led the league in slugging percentage. But they have been shut down tonight by Cole Hamels. The 2-1. A big swing and a miss for Gomes. Just got a piece.
It's rare that Johnny Gomes will take a called third strike. He'll be hacking. Struck out his last time up after getting ahead in the count. 3-1. Struck out on a changeup, you might remember. And Hamels has struck out 4 of the last 5 he's faced.
The 2-2 fouled away. Johnny Gomes left off the Tampa Bay Rays postseason roster in 08. The opponent of the Phillies in the World Series. Got a chance to play every day this year. Dusty Baker gave him that shot. He responded with a career high in runs batted in. As Gomes hits one hard left field. Ibanez there. 2 outs. 10 in a row retired by Cole Hamels. This is very reminiscent of Hamels' division series start against the Milwaukee Brewers.
Made a mistake with the changeup, but Gomes was a little bit out in front of it, hit it off the end of the bat. That's the only thing that kept it in the ballpark.
So 2 gone here in the 7th inning. And here is Ramon Hernandez now, 0 for 2 against Hamels. Joe and I did that game against Milwaukee in 08. And a very similar ball club to this Cincinnati team. First time in the playoffs in a long time. Hamels went 8 innings, his longest postseason outing to date. As Hernandez goes down the line. That is going to go to the wall. Hernandez does not run well. Ibanez fires to second. Hernandez is in there. A double. Ramon Hernandez. A hustle double in the 7th inning with 2 away.
Well, again, even if you just get 1 runner on, you bring the tying run to the plate in this ballpark. That's something. Hernandez put a good swing on another pitch that got away from Cole Hamels, not where he wanted it. And while Hernandez chugs into second, he'll make way now for a pinch runner. Bronson Arroyo, the pitcher.
Arroyo started on Friday night. No decision in that game. And here is Jay Bruce. In the history of this ballpark, which goes back to 03, Bruce has the signature moment in the regular season that clinched the division and a postseason berth. It was September 28th against Tim Burdack of the Astros, and that was a game-winning home run and a division-winning home run for the Cincinnati Reds.
A double by Hernandez has fired up this crowd again.
'23-year-old Jay Bruce, he represents the tying run. He was on a home run binge at the end of the season. In his final 4 at-bats of the regular season, had 3 homers.
Look at this last pitch. It's what caused Carlos Ruiz to run out there. I'm not sure if he was very happy about some of the location of these off-speed pitches.
Bruce into right field. Werth right there. And the threat is over. The Reds make a little noise, but Hamels with 7 shut out on the board. We go to the 8th. Coverage on TBS is presented by BlackBerry. It's a beautiful night for baseball in Cincinnati, Great American Ballpark. The Phillies at this point have spoiled the party, though. 2-0, they lead it. As we have a new battery, Ryan Hannigan will come on to catch. Left-hander Bill Bray out of the Cincinnati bullpen.
Bill Bray worked in Game 1 in Philadelphia. Worked an inning and a third. Retired all 4 hitters he faced.
One of 4 left-handers in the bullpen for Dusty Baker. Homer Bailey, 2 scoreless innings for Cincinnati. And a couple of strikeouts. Johnny Cueto started and went 5. He's on the hook for the loss at this point. Cole Hamels has been too tough for the Reds through 7 innings.
Bray pretty much a slider pitcher to left-handers.
So far tonight, the Phillies with 2 runs on 7 hits. Howard has 2 of those 7 hits, both singles. And his 2 hits have been hit him where they ain't. He has beaten the shift twice. Had that soft single to left field in the first inning, and then a little infield hit towards third in the third.
And his bloop to left field in the first inning, out of the range of everybody, that allowed Polanco to go first to third and then set up the score with the 2-out error by Cabrera.
Full count to the former MVP Ryan Howard. And a big cut. And if you're watching this game in high definition, it's a pretty good example of how Bray wants to pitch Ryan Howard. He is not even thinking about the inner half.
Nor is he thinking much about a fastball.
Might have been the best ball that Howard has had to hit.
Yeah, that one stayed in the zone a while. Looked like, though, with all these sliders, he's looking for something middle of the plate away. He likes the ball down, but he also likes it down and away so he can go get it. Just drop the barrel of the bat on it.
And he swings and misses. Bray stayed with a plan, went with a fastball and a strikeout to start the 8th inning.
I believe it was the only one he saw in that sequence and went up and in with it, which made it that much more effective. Hannigan set up away. Pitch came up and in and tied him up.
And Howard looking as if he lost the grip on his bat. Bray in for just the 1 hitter. Dusty Baker back to the bullpen. He'll play matchup the rest of the way. And the hard-throwing Nick Massett will come on to face Jayson Werth. 1 away, 8th inning. Phillies lead 2-0. We'll take a break. They're calling this version of the Reds the new Reds machine. It takes you back to the mid-70s, the Big Red machine. The Reds with 5 World Championships and back-to-back World Series titles in 75 and 76. And Joe, it was another Joe. The great Red, the Hall of Famer Joe Morgan, throwing out the first pitch tonight.
And this crowd very appreciative too. They were going crazy when he was out there.
And there is Joe Morgan. Pretty good arm. He's still got it. Almost a strike, Joe. Now that great World Series in 75. Joe Morgan likes to remind folks that the Reds actually won the 75 World Series, the Carlton Fisk Home Run World Series. And then the next year, Cincinnati would win again, sweeping the Yankees in 76. Nick Massett against Jayson Werth.
Big Nick Massett worked in game 2, but had a rough inning in the third. Gave up an insurance run to the Phillies in the 8th inning. Throws hard, mid-90s. Also works with a cutter, has a over-the-top curveball. Very effective setup man for Dusty Baker all year long.
And staying away from Werth. He's got the big fastball as well. Werth with a couple of strikeouts tonight. Reached on an error in the first. It was an error by Orlando Cabrera, who is a late addition to this starting lineup, that allowed the first Philly run. And then Chase Utley homered in the 5th inning to give us this 2-0 score in the 8th. And all the talk about the hitter-friendly Great American Ballpark, and we have seen terrific pitching tonight, especially from Cole Hamels of the Phillies, who has 7 strikeouts through 7 shutout innings. Count stays at 2-2 to Werth. "31-year-old Illinois native. Last year he was an all-star for the first time in his career at the age of 30. Quite a find for the Phillies. And he waves and misses at a breaking ball. A strikeout for Massett. 2 gone in the 8th inning.
That's what makes him so effective. He's throwing 95, 96, and then he breaks out this over-the-top curveball, and it's just impossible to stay back. Good pitch by Massett. Good sequence.
Bill Bray struck out Ryan Howard to start the inning. Now Massett picks up his first K to his first batter, and it's Jimmy Rollins. Rollins with a hit, a walk, and a line drive out. He's taking some good cuts. Well, the speed game is not there for Rollins, but there's no doubt he can certainly play run producer, and he is in a spot in the lineup to do that, hitting behind the big sluggers like Utley and Howard and Werth. Foul back. Rollins won the MVP award in 07. He gave a lot of credit to Tony Gwynn, who he would go see in the offseason out in San Diego for changing his approach a little bit at the plate. We certainly want to send our best to Tony Gwynn.
You bet.
Cancer in the parotid gland, and hopefully he is going to make a 100% recovery. Former colleague here at TBS and the Hall of Famer. But Rollins gives the Hall of Fame Tony Gwynn a lot of credit for shaping his swing and allowing him to stay back and be this great fastball hitter that he's become.
Yeah, he does. He waits and trusts his hands and challenges you to pitch him inside.
Little flare off the end of the bat. Stubbs coming on fast, and he makes the catch. So Massive retires the final 2 hitters. We are headed to the bottom of the 8th and the bottom of the order coming up. Take a look at tonight's Nissan game summary. The Phillies a 2-0 lead over the Cincinnati Reds as we head to the bottom of the 8th inning, and the story tonight has been Cole Hamels. 7 shutouts, 7 strikeouts for Hamels, and trying to equal his longest postseason start of his career as Orlando Cabrera sends one high to left, playable for Ibanez. 1 pitch, 1 out for Hamels.
His best pitch tonight has been his changeup. Here's his strikeouts tonight. You mentioned the 7, Brian. Pay attention to how many of these are changeups. That was on a 3-2 count to Gomes. Again, the gyro. Looked like a cutter. That might have been a changeup there to Votto. All told, 25 changeups tonight coming into this inning. 20 for strikes. Most of those swings.
And Hamels is 5 outs away from sending the Phillies to the National League Championship Series. Phillies are looking for their 9th trip to the NLCS. The 2-time defending National League champs. As Ryan Hanigan bats for the first time. Hanigan came in on the double switch. Hanigan hit .300 during the regular season. Part of the catching platoon with Ramon Hernandez. Got a lot of playing time. Pops it up. Foul territory. Ruiz and Polanco look at each other, and the ball drops free. Polanco looking at Ruiz. Ruiz doing the same. And that one falls, and they could charge the Phillies with an error here.
They should charge an error, but part of this is a mental mistake over here by Cole Hamels. He's got to be a traffic cop when they're looking at each other and one not really knowing who's supposed to take it. And it really should have been Polanco taking charge there, but Hamels should have been over there close directing traffic. And he is pointing at Polanco, but with this crowd, I doubt from where he's standing either one of the players could hear him.
It's hard to hear a point.
Yes, it is.
2 balls and a strike. Maybe that's the break the Reds need as Hannigan chases. Boy, that has been a money pitch for Cole Hamels tonight.
Just the location of it has been outstanding. His delivery on it has been very deceptive. It's just like the fastball coming out of his hand. It's a circle change and a beauty.
They will charge Polanco with an error. 2-2 the count on Hannigan. And a little grounder out to short. Jimmy Rollins fires to first for the out. 2 up, 2 down for Cole Hamels. Now, just a reminder that NCAA March Madness is coming this spring. Watch every game live on TBS, TNT, True TV, and CBS. So Hamels with 2 gone in the 8th. The Reds down to their final 4 out. Speaking of NCAA. And needing to get something going here. Top of the order. 4th time through the batting order. As Drew Stubbs will hit.
He set down 18 of 20. No walks.
At no point tonight have the Reds had multiple base runners on. Hamels has given up just 4 hits to go along with the 7 strikeouts. But with credit to the Cincinnati bullpen and even Johnny Cueto, who went 5 good innings tonight, the Reds are still in it. They're a base runner away from bringing the tying run to the plate. Stubbs had 22 home runs during the regular year. And a big swing.
Wow.
Cole Hamels dials it up the ladder. Down goes Stubbs. He is through 8 strikeouts. Still working on a shutout in Cincinnati. Series coverage on TBS is presented by BlackBerry. And we are headed to the 9th inning from the Queen City, Cincinnati, Ohio. And the Redlegs are down to their final 3 outs. But business at hand in the top of the 9th as the Cuban Missile, Aroldis Chapman, will come on to pitch the 9th against the bottom of the Philadelphia batting order.
He took the loss in game 2, came into work in the 7th inning, and that hit batter, or was it a hit batter, Chase Utley got the inning started. He only went 2/3 of an inning, gave up 2 hits and 3 runs, but all the runs were unearned, as there were also 2 errors made behind him.
The flame-throwing Chapman made it to the big leagues right at the end of August. And here in Cincinnati, especially when he pitches, flash bulbs go off everywhere. Every pitch he throws, even in warm-ups.
Trying to catch a glimpse of that 102.
Well, we saw Chapman reach 102 miles an hour, but he was sitting around 99 to 100. And you might think we're crazy saying this, but that was not his best fastball on Friday night. He has been as fast as 105 this year. Pitching in his first postseason, he has fallen behind Ibanez 3-0. Ibanez had a hit against Chapman in the 7th inning of Friday night's game.
Yeah, it's like a sparkling Christmas tree around here with all the lights going off.
Full count.
Ryan Howard said after he struck out against Chapman in game 2, he said it's just a case of trying to see the ball out of his hand for the first time. You got to see him and then make adjustments. It's kind of hard that first at bat because you don't really know what 102 looks like.
3-2. See what he offers here. And a fastball that is ripped into right at Jay Bruce. Man, how about Raul Ibanez turning around 100? Sent it out 100 miles an hour, but he hit it right at Bruce for the out.
He can hit a fastball just like Ruiz. Ruiz faced him in the 7th inning in Philadelphia and hit into a fielder's choice, but I was really looking forward to the matchup with Carlos Ruiz, who many in Philadelphia feel is the best fastball hitter on their team. Good contest here, folks.
So 1 gone as Chapman sizes up Ruiz. 100-mile-an-hour pitch and 100-mile-an-hour swing.
Yes, it was.
Our gun had it a mile-per-hour slow, according to the big scoreboard here. That is not fair.
87 slider. Woo. That's Randy Johnson like.
And the 0-2 back with the heat, and Ruiz sends one down the line. Carlos Ruiz on his way to second base, and he is in there with a double. This guy is unbelievable against the fastball.
And according to the scoreboard here, that was 105. 105 miles an hour on the Great American Ballpark radar gun. And Carlos Ruiz won the battle, fought it off, and sent it into the right field corner.
There are only a handful of people in the world who can handle a fastball like that, with a 2-strike count, no less. As Ruiz just fights one off down that right field line for a double. Now Hamels will hit. If you had any questions about Hamels coming out for the 9th inning to try to finish this game, there's your answer.
And you know what? I mean, I'm sure Charlie Manuel would like to have him finish it. He's earned the right to finish it, but you almost wonder about, man, I don't want him to get dinged here. Cole Hamels is way too valuable to run the risk of Aroldis Chapman hitting him in the hand or arm with a pitch.
Hamels might as well be up there with a table leg right now, or a plastic bat. But if he's going to get hit, you want him to have a Chase Utley kind of hit by pitch. The one that actually didn't hit Chase Utley.
Yeah. Yeah, if you could order that, that'd be just fine. Trouble is,
Chapman signed a 6-year contract with the Reds, a free agent deal after defecting from Cuba. And Hamels makes contact, hits it well. Back is Stubbs, and he'll make the catch. So Cole Hamels gets good wood on it, but an out number 2.
very impressive.
So a reminder, you can visit TBS Hot Corner at MLB.com/TBS Hot Corner to watch live video companion coverage of every MLB postseason game. I underestimated Cole Hamels.
So did I.
My apologies.
And he went up there swinging, so good for him. He made contact.
2 outs. Both of the outs hit pretty well. And here's Shane Victorino. Another guy who's never met a fastball he doesn't like.
I've heard Bobby Cox say many times that major league hitters can time a jet if they have to. Doesn't matter how hard you throw, but a major league hitter's timing is such that they see it enough, they'll be able to get good timing on it.
Now the plans for Chapman next season to move him into the starting rotation. Pitching out of the bullpen, he has not used the changeup much. We haven't seen it, but apparently he has a terrific changeup to go along with the big fastball and the slider that he unveiled a moment ago. It was the most anticipated arrival to the big leagues this year outside of Steven Strasburg. And the Reds certainly hoping it does not end like Strasburg, who ended up on the surgeon's table with the ligament replacement surgery this summer.
Victorino's a good fastball hitter too. I don't think he's in the Ruiz class, but he likes the fastball.
And that one bounces.
How about that?
Good block.
Yeah. Brian Hannigan, see what you can do with this, please. Just try to get it to hit some part of your protective equipment.
See those notable Cuban pitchers. And Aroldis Chapman looking up to Jose Contreras. Louis Tiant of the Red Sox, El Tiante. And the brothers Hernandez, Orlando and Levon. Just nasty. Just a wicked slider.
Yeah, that's a good pitch.
2-2.
I mean, it's at 86, but that's almost 20 miles an hour slower than his fastball. That's quite a difference.
That's a change of pace. Victorino into center field. Routine for Drew Stubbs. Here we go to the bottom of the 9th. Cole Hamels, can he go the distance to send the Phillies to the NLCS? Ruiz, and now it is Cole Hamels who is putting together a masterpiece. A 4-hit shutout. Charlie Manuel is going to give him a chance to finish tonight.
Yeah, he's only thrown a little over 100 pitches. He has struck out 80. He hasn't walked anybody. He's been brilliant. Maybe a mistake or two the last couple of innings, but really no signs of any problems for him as he goes into the 9th against the heart of the order for Cincinnati.
Hamels will start this inning with Brad Lidge loosening in the bullpen.
And if they do advance, this is bad news for whoever advances out of the other division playoff. 4 runs, 9 hits off the big 3. And all the runs and 5 of the hits came off of Roy Oswalt. Just 3 of the runs were earned, the 123 mark. And this is the best hitting club in the National League that they're handling.
Brandon Phillips leads off. The Reds need a base runner. They have been a comeback team during the regular season.
45 of them.
Hamels falling behind 2-0. Phillips has swung the bat fairly well. He doesn't have anything to show for it, but a couple of hard hit balls, including what at this point is the defensive play of the game, which happened way back in the first inning, as Victorino robbed Phillips of not only an extra base hit but an RBI. The Reds have just 5 hits in the last 12 innings of this postseason, and there's the changeup from Hamels, and that has been the big pitch.
After Drew Stubbs led off the first inning with a single, Phillips stepped up and hit a rocket into left center field, and Shane Victorino raced over and tracked it down. Otherwise, we've got a tie game and another runner in scoring position for the Reds.
Fell behind 2-0. Hamels has evened the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes. And Phillips pulls that one. That's a base hit under the glove of Polanco. And there's the base runner the Redlegs have been looking for. Now Joey Votto will bat, representing the tying run.
Good at bat by Brandon Phillips. He got a breaking ball that came to him, and he pulled it hard past Polanco. See how long Charlie Manuel stays with Hamels. And a left-handed hitter up there. He looks like he's going to let him pitch to at least one more. But for Cincinnati, that's exactly what they needed to get the crowd back in it. And it'll bring the tying run to the plate.
Joey Votto. And a strike from Hamels. Big pitch to start the count as he gets ahead with a fastball.
Painted the outside corner with a 92 fastball. Guy who's an odds-on favorite for the National League MVP with a chance to do something here.
And a half swing didn't matter. Called strike. 0-2 to Votto. How about Hamels coming back after the base hit and delivers 2 darts to get ahead of the best hitter in the National League this year.
They look like cutters too. His newfound pitch.
0-2. And Votto doesn't chase. A ball and 2 strikes.
He doesn't throw a slider, so this really helps him not only with right-handed hitters, keeping them off his changeup, but when he gets ahead of left-handed hitters, maybe getting them to chase something that looks like a strike on the outside part, only have it dart off out of the zone.
Votto pulls one to the right side. Utley to Rollins, and a double play. The Phillies go 4-6-3. Votto tried to pull it, and that great off speed of Cole Hamels comes into play once again. 2 gone in the 9th.
I think it might have been the cutter again, Brian. Again, to that spot where Ruiz had set up outside, and rather than run the risk of getting it called a strike, Votto chased it and hit it right where Hamels would like for him to hit it.
And now Hamels is an out away. Last hope for the Reds, Scott Rolen. And Phillies fans wouldn't have it any other way. The man they boo every time he comes to the plate since he was traded away in 2002. As Hamels tries to send the Phillies to the NLCS. And hopes are fading fast here at Great American Ballpark. Now the Reds down to their last strike.
The H2O combination doing exactly what Charlie Manuel wanted them to do when he selected the 8-day series. Everybody pitching on regular rest.
It's already his longest postseason outing. Cole Hamels. This is his 11th postseason start. His longest outing was 8 innings 2 years ago. He's got a chance to go the distance here tonight. The 0-2 to Roland. And a bullet foul out of play.
Looking to go 4-0 on the road in his career in postseason. And as he said before this start, he likes pitching in this park. He's never lost here. 6-0 in this ballpark coming in with a 1.07 ERA.
And a swing and a miss. The Philadelphia Phillies are headed back to defend their National League pennant. They are headed to the NLCS as Cole Hamels goes the distance. A complete game masterpiece tonight. A 5-hit shutout against the best offense in the National League this year, the Cincinnati Reds. Disappointment for Reds fans as they are out in 3. A sweep by the Phillies.
Whoever comes out of the other National League Division series, be it San Francisco or Atlanta, they're going to have their hands full with a hot club and a team that it's hard to imagine them pitching any better than their starting their rotations pitching right now.
Hamels finishes with 9 strikeouts. His best postseason game, the 2008 World Series MVP, is back to his form that made him a star in 08 during the championship year. And Cole Hamels is with our David Aldridge. David?
Cole getting congratulations from some of his teammates. Joe Blanton, Doc Holliday, some of the other pitchers, Jose Contreras. Cole, a lot of pitchers don't like pitching here. You love pitching here. You're 7-0 against the Reds. What is it you like about pitching against these guys?
Yeah, I think it's the opportunity that I was able to debut here. That's a special moment, and it's always going to be special to me. And I think it's just I have that sort of positive energy every time I come here. And it's been a great place because it's you have to really bear down. Because of the park and because of these guys on the other side, you really have to bear down. And when you're able to do that, you're able to make good pitches.
You guys have won 4 series of your 6 series in this run on the road. Closing out people seems to be a habit of you. How are you guys able to close people out so consistently?
We play good baseball. We're hitting the ball. We're able to score. We're stealing bases, and then we're able to pitch. It helps. When you're playing good defense today. I left a few pitches up, and guys were hit it, but we had tremendous defense, and I think that's what it really takes to be a good team and to be able to pull it through is to play everything.
You obviously dedicated yourself in the off season. You got yourself in great shape, but how much having Doc Holliday here, seeing his example, seeing how he trains, has helped you this season?
You lead by example, and that's what the leaders do. And if you're able to pick up a few things, then you can become a leader too. And he's a special guy. And I think when you have a guy like that, you want to compete because you want to get better. And he's just been able to make me compete a lot more and get to know myself a little bit more. And knew that I do have that courage to go out there and do a good job out there on the mound, and then come and high five him.
Is it fair to say that this is the best postseason team you guys have had, even though you've won a series, you've been to the series, but with the 3 starters you now have at the top of the rotation?
Having three starters, that definitely helps because the postseason's all about pitching. When you're able to pitch good games, you're going to get wins, and then we have the experience now on our side, and that really does help. When you've been able to be in these moments and know how to handle yourself, then you're going to be able to come away and put the other team away, put the crowd away, and play your game.
Well, congratulations. Enjoy the moment.
No, thank you.
All right, back to you, Brian.
All right, thanks a lot, David. And Cole Hamels, distracted a year ago. It's a year and a day that his son Caleb was born after his first start of the postseason. The reaction of Brandon Phillips tells you all you need to know. And let's face it, Joe, what the Reds do best, they hit and they play defense, and they did not do either of those in this series against the Philadelphia Phillies.
I think they'll look back when they start or have a chance to look back at those games, and especially Game 2, Brian. That was a turning point in this series. They had a 4-0 lead in the middle innings and let it slip away primarily because of their defense. And while that would have evened the series coming home, it might have put a different spin on things from an emotional standpoint for the Cincinnati Reds, certainly. But that was their opportunity. We kept talking about needing a big moment. That was their moment, and they weren't able to capitalize.
And you talk about running into a buzzsaw. The Philadelphia Phillies, they look like they can match up with anyone in baseball right now in the postseason with those three starting pitchers. Next on the docket for the Phillies will be the Braves or the San Francisco Giants. That series is being led by the Giants 2-1. And they compare very favorably with both. You see the season series numbers between the two clubs. But what do you think is the better matchup for the Philadelphia Phillies, Joe?
Well, they saw a lot of the Braves, obviously in the same division. So there's no secrets between those two teams. If they match up, they know what each side can do. They know what they can't do. With respect to the Giants, only 6 games during the course of the season. The Giants have 3 really good starting pitchers. They can run out there, too. So that might be a test that the Cincinnati Reds wonder, how we would match up with them because they don't see them enough. So it'll be a contest for either of the Braves or the Giants or anybody out of the American League. Now, they are on a roll. They finished up very strong in September to take the division away from the Atlanta Braves. And right now, I don't see anybody stopping them unless they stop themselves.
Now, the Phillies in the postseason for the 4th straight year. This is the 3rd consecutive year that they'll have a chance to defend a National League pennant. Of course, they won the World Series in 2008. And they have been a franchise known for their offense, but this year specifically, and we heard from Cole Hamels a moment ago, they have not had the pitching that they do now with Hamels at the end of this triple threat, this H2O, with Halladay ready to start Game 1, and then Oswalt in the middle. I'm not going to say it's unprecedented, but the way they're playing right now is something you're going to have to look back in the record books and find out who's been this good at this stage of the season, because remember, they went through most of the season without their big guns in the lineup. They still don't have Jimmy Rollins back 100%, but Chase Utley missed about 40 games. Rollins had 2 different leg injuries, a couple of weeks off for Ryan Howard with an ankle injury. So they've missed a lot of their guns. They got them back now, and watch out anybody that gets in their way. It is a team and a franchise that is getting used to the sting of champagne. And they do it again. They sweep the Cincinnati Reds. Congratulations to the Phillies. A 2-0 final score today for Joe Simpson and David Aldridge. I'm Brian Anderson saying good night from Cincinnati. Coming up next, it's Inside MLB presented by Captain Morgan. Remember to drink responsibly. TBS is your exclusive home for the entire 2010 Division Series and the American League Championship Series. Now let's send it to Matt Weiner in our Atlanta studios as the Phillies are moving on.